My name is Paul Valone. You are listening to Guns, Politics, and Freedom today. We have the good fortune to interview Representative Keith Kidwell, and I think in a moment, after discussing today's floor debate, I think Representative Kidwell has a bit of an announcement for us. Representative Kidwell.
Well, welcome to the fray.
Yeah, really. Tell me about today. What do you think the floor fight looked like?
Well, it wasn't surprising. You had the Republicans fighting to keep your rights, and you had the Democrats fighting to take them away or continue. And this is the part that's amazing to me, Paul. Let's call it what it is. The pistol purchase permit is an old Jim Crow law.
Yes, it is.
It's past its prime. It was designed to impede certain people from buying firearms. We want to talk about equality. Let's make it where it's equal for everybody. So, and that's really what repealing that pistol purchase permit does. Some of the arguments were that the federal laws don't cover the certain crimes and situations where you can buy guns. But let's deal with this. We have our own laws in North Carolina, and North Carolina says you have to have a background check to buy a gun, regardless of what the federal or what they call a federal loophole or whatever. North Carolina law still states you have to have a background check to buy a gun. So, a pistol. So when people talk about things like that, they just don't understand the law.
You know what I found?
Or don't want to.
I found interesting House Bill 72. Now, this was a bill just for an education campaign.
Yep.
Very, we had no position on it.
Yep.
Until, of course, Representative Marsha Murray got involved. And she was trying to strip out the language that would have prevented any of the money for that bill from being used to advocate gun control. Am I right?
You are right. That's exactly what she was trying to do.
And so what that tells me is that they're not really interested in gun safety like they claim they are. They're only interested in advocating for restricting gun ownership.
That's correct. You can't sit there and put taxes, permits, licenses, fees on firearms and tell me you're not trying to restrict them. As I said on the floor in the debate, it's the only right that I'm aware of where they want you to have a permit. And at the point we had it, if we don't repeal the pistol purchase permit, you have to actually go through it twice. Okay? Mm-hmm. Is there any other right that we have in this country that you have to buy a permit to go down and exercise?
Excellent point. Excellent point.
I would argue that things like fishing licenses and hunting licenses are wholly unconstitutional, but that's a fight for another day.
And then, interestingly enough, there were 4 Democrats who voted against the bill in its final form.
Yeah.
Now, that tells me all I need to know, because if they're not interested in the education safety program unless it contains anti-gun advocacy,
right,
that pretty much says it.
Well, it's kind of like the old NRA thing. I think they still run it, the Eddie Eagle gun safety videos and all, which I used for my son and my grandchildren.
As did I.
This is something that it just makes sense because you're teaching people that may not know or may not realize that just laying that gun on the dresser at home is not a great idea. You want to put that up, particularly if there's going to be children around. As I've told some of the people who came in here from the left that wanted to talk about it, I said, look, you come to my house, there's literally guns in every room, but every one of them's locked. They're either on a safe up against the wall and locked up, or they're in a safe in a table or something nearby. But that is responsible gun ownership. Leaving a gun laying on the seat of your car while you run into to the store to buy something, not a great plan. Not a great plan.
So, on a different note, you just did something interesting while we were sitting here. Why don't you tell us about that?
Literally, as you started rolling the film, I collected the final signature on the North Carolina Constitutional Carry Act and have submitted that for filing. I don't think I have a bill number yet. Let me take a look and see. And the answer to that is no. Bill number's not here. But by tomorrow morning, it'll have a bill number. What this one does is it allows that if you do not want to have a permit in North Carolina, you don't have to. But I do want to keep the concealed carry permit in place for those that choose to, for several reasons. One, if you have the concealed carry permit, that can be used to identify yourself when you buy a firearm so that you don't even have to go through the next check, because if you have a pistol purchase permit, it is likely the most difficult to get ID in the United States. It's harder than a passport. Okay, I didn't have to go anywhere to get my passport. I could literally just mail the stuff in. Right. When I get my concealed carry permit, I have to go through a class. I have to get fingerprinted. I have to go down to the sheriff. That type of stuff. So it's literally the most difficult of any ID to get. And that way you can prove that you are an honorable person that can buy a firearm. The other thing that you'll want to do is if you're traveling to another state where they have a permit process, you can generally use our permit. I think ours is eligible in 38 states, if I'm not mistaken, so that you can travel a state of Virginia, South Carolina, Florida, abide by their laws.
Mm-hmm.
But your permit is valid in that state just like your driver's license
Might even
is.
be 39. I'd have to go back and check. But Nevada, for a period of time, was not honoring our permit, but we actually got that fixed.
Well, Virginia didn't for a little while
Yeah,
as well.
that's-
so
yeah, well, that
there was
was-
a couple of them that were kind of in and out. But,
Yeah.
you know, so and the other part I did, and actually, so when we hit a committee, I'll have to take out, because I had in my bill the pistol permit repeal, just in case today's did not pass. I wanted to have it in my bill, and then the last part of it is to have elected officials being able to carry. You know, there are certain situations where that becomes a problem.
Yeah, we've seen the Moral Monday crowd here.
Well,
yeah,
we've seen a lot of
lunatic
different
fringe.
crowds here.
Yeah,
So,
the
yes.
lunatic fringe.
Yep.
All right, well, very good. Representative Kidwell, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time.
Well, glad you were able to make it out here today. Glad you got to see the battles that go on the floor of the House, and
Oh, it's always good sport.
more to come.
Folks, you've been listening to Guns, Politics, and Freedom. We will give you more information as it becomes available.